So the discovery phase really helps to articulate and validate the business need and the goals that we need to achieve for the client. Active communication helps to coordinate the process and do the right step. Poor and kind of limited communication may cause any issues, misunderstanding, reworks. As a result, really take the project vision and even development in wrong direction. It's still better to invest in the discovery and postpone some scope than cut the deadlines and trying to make something in a rush.
Hi. Any one of you who plans to start a collaboration with a development partner, whenever you are planning to develop your first digital product, take your existing product business to the next level, or just extend or revise your existing development team, this topic is for you. If you have ever dealt with software development companies, you have came across such a concept as discovery phase. Discovery phase is the first development phase in development process of digital products. And often this phase is one which raises the most questions. So in today's topic, we would like to discuss in detail what is the discovery phase and answer all most frequently asked questions. And if you have never heard about such terms, so don't worry, we will tell you about everything. And on this video, we will discuss what is the discovery phase and what is it for? What values does it bring? What type of discovery exists? Does every project need discovery? And also we will discuss some of the most concerns which people may have regarding the discovery phase. So, and our guest who will help me to figure out all the tiny details of the discovery phase is our Chief Officer of Business Analysis Department at LinkUp Studio, Ira. Ira has more than 10 years of experience in business analysis and auditing of diverse software projects, and she has conducted a discovery phase dozens of times. Hi, Ira.
Hi, Oksana, and everyone who is going to watch this video. Thanks for such a cool introduction and, of course, the invitation to discuss this topic today. So glad to be here with you today.
I'm also very glad that you are with me today. So let's begin with the basis. So, Ira, can you please tell us what is the discovery phase?
Sure. So the discovery is really first and initial stage in the software development. It involves the product's copy as well as requirement elicitation, analysis, research, and the prototyping. And the really main aim of this phase is to translate the project vision and concept into its technical realization. So the team collects information, analyze, explore the market, competitors, target audience. Also, we are doing some tech research to understand what possibilities we have. And then, based on all of these outcomes, we design the solution and, of course, building a detailed implementation plan.
And for what exact purposes it is necessary to carry out the discovery phase?
That's a very good question, and honestly there are plenty of them, but I will focus on the most important ones. So the discovery phase really helps to articulate and validate the business need and the goals that we need to achieve for the client. It also helps us to leverage the expectation by testing the ideas, hypotheses, in making some investigation. It also makes possible to make the product-related decision based on facts, investigation results, rather than some assumption that we have at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So the discovery phase is also used to, reduce the uncertainties that we have at the beginning, helps to mitigate risks. It also helps the architect and then the development team to define the proper architecture of the solution and the tech stack and the technology that we're going to use. And from business analysis standpoint, it helps us to prioritize the scope and select the relevant one that will really bring the value to the client. So at the end, we build the development plan with detailed time and cost estimates, and this one helps us to achieve the business needs. And at the end, it helps to reduce cost, save money, and make the better solution for the client.
I think we will not find a person who would not want to save time, money, and cost during the development process. But does really every software project need a discovery phase?
That's a really cool question. Thanks for this. And, I will answer with rhetorical one. Would you start building a house without plan? without sketches and understanding what infrastructure and communication does your house need, without even understanding how much it will cost you, how long it will take you to build the house, and know really what materials do you need. So I bet the answer is obvious. With the product development, it's kind of the same. If you want to build something good, reliable, and even more something that will bring the income, you should not sacrifice this scoping and planning phase, because all this fast and unadvised decision at the beginning will result in painful and costly changes at the end.
And okay, but how about project which we are not starting from scratch, you know? So for example, let's imagine such situations that someone came to you and tell you that I have an existing CRM system or management system for my company, which I have developed like 5 years ago. And right now the platform is quite outdated. So I want to update it, you know, like involve new technology, improve user experience, eliminate bugs, make it more efficient for my company, and in overall, you know, make my company more efficient with a good software. So, do we need discovery in this case?
That's a quite frequent case here in our reality, and it's a very good example when discovery is crucial. Because we as development company and the agency, we need to understand what we are dealing with, what the problems we need to resolve, and all these ready products, they usually have some pitfalls that we need to be aware at the beginning. So we need to explore, you know, in much details, in depth as we can, to understand what the product is, what technology was used, why, does it have any limitation right now, for this type of the discoveries, it usually required to involve more tech architects to have a look on this product, you know, to investigate, to test, and make a decision. Can we continue using the same technology and will improve the product with just some add-ons and improvements, or it's really reasonable to start rebuilding the product from scratch? And what I need to say that this kind of the project are usually much harder than the one that we start designing, you know, and building from scratch.
Yeah, I fully agree that developing something from scratch is often more easier than modifying something which is already existing, because you have a lot of limitation of existing platform. And so can we say in this case that discovery phase is mandatory for most of the project, or we have maybe we have some exceptions where we cannot involve discovery phase?
I would say that discovery is almost the must for every project. Some exception can be with really small and scope limited project where we already have detailed project documentation, so team had the basis to start with. But to be honest, such doesn't happen often. So mostly discovery is required prior to development. So we all really kind of plan and know what to do. And for sure, the most cases, these are startup ideas, this is the complex and the long-term project, this is proof of concept, and also it also applies for the case when there is a need to outline the MVP scope out of the large scope of the big product. And there are so many different, like you just mentioned, it's a lot of different cases like of companies and clients who have their unique development needs. So some clients might want to prove the concept to understand if their idea are technically implemented. Some can have a clear vision of how the product should work, but they don't understand how they can start and how they can transform their idea into requirements, into functional requirements for the dev team. Someone may require very tech-savvy investigation, and in other case there may be a good specification but no any design in place, and client may want a very realistic timelines and cost estimation in order to move forward to the development stage. So my question is, how can one discovery cover all these many cases? Is there any types of the discoveries which exist for every type of different development needs? Yeah, I would not outline some specific type of discoveries. They are usually tied to the need that the client has and really the output that we want to get from this phase. So as said previously, discovery might be kind of slightly different and the deliverables might differ from one discovery to another, they always focus what the clients want to and what really we need to have at an output of this phase. So it's really important to adapt each discovery to this project specific, and it helps us to define the right team that should be involved into this phase and do the proper planning. So I would not say that there is one classic standard discovery approach that would apply to all cases. No, it doesn't work in this way.
Yeah, and I must admit that I'm actually this era, we are very often working together on actually polishing and proposing discovery phase to the new clients which we have in the link up. And sometimes we are really arguing with her about like what to include into the discovery phase. Because from the one point, you don't want to include something which will not be useful for the project and waste time and money for it. But from another point of view, when we're starting a new partnership with a new client and working and planning to start working on the new project, we are very limited in the information. And sometimes we can't predict what will be the most useful for this exact project, and it's really, some scare of missing something which will be important. So that is why we always leave kind of a space for adjustments, and sometimes during discovery process, the discovery team can make adjustments and propose, to add something or to delete something from the scope of work. For example, just 2 weeks ago, we finished a discovery phase for the one cryptocurrency project, and our discovery team was able to save 42% of the initial budget which we allocate for the discovery, and it's actually crazy saving. So it was made because collaboration between a discovery team and the client was very good, and client clearly understand what he want. So that is why team sees that, okay, this guy know what he needs, so we can so they decided to skip a few stages of the discovery, like researches, because client have already all this prepared. So we just should learn it. And also they decided to skip some wireframe stage for some pages and implement everything directly on the UI. So these skips of these stages didn't influence on the quality, but it made drastic impact on the end budget, and we saved 42%. Yeah. And if we already started talking about the discovery team, so could you please tell us who is involved in the discovery phase, and what these people are responsible for and what they deliver at the end?
Sure. So discovery team is formed, of course, based on the project specific. And it consists of dedicated specialists with diverse experience to cover all the experts that might be needed during the discovery phase. And I want to mention that discovery team, the composition of this team, it really matters and it's really important because we are trying to achieve the fundamental results in relatively short time. So the right team really kind of matters. Every company has its own understanding who should be in part of this discovery team, whom to involve and when, but like most commonly it consists from business analysts, from UI/UX designer, and the tech architect. So each team member plays his role, and their business analysts usually step in first in this phase and then continuously coordinate the process. Business analyst is responsible, of course, for all the stuff in regards to requirements, for solution validation and project documentation. Designer is accountable for complete design, system vision, and the style option. And the tech architect also is responsible for all the tech side of the solution, technical architecture, all the technical decision and the investigation that might be required. Mm-hmm. He is also responsible for suggesting the relevant technology stack and all the tool sets that might be needed during development.
And what deliverables we can expect after the discovery phase?
Yeah, as we said previously, some discovery might be different from another, so of course the deliverables might slightly differ as well, but the list include, again, but it's not limited to. So it may be the product backlog and the project documentation supported by different system models, diagrams, and so on. It also are the design artifacts such as wireframes and style option. We can also provide the UI design as an output of discovery phase, but in order to speed up the development process and make the project development shorter, we at LinkUp Studio practice to finish the discovery phase with wireframes and then continue creating the designs simultaneously with development, just to save times. It will also include the technology, team composition, also some kind of risk and limitation that we should be aware during development. And the most important part of all this output is the development plan with the detailed time and cost estimates, the milestone releases, and so on.
And we come here to a very tricky and interesting point. One of the deliverables, which I think 99.9% of companies include into their agile discovery process, is a development plan and estimation. So, is this estimation really 100% accurate, or it is still some percent of uncertainty and risk in it?
That's a tricky question, but thanks for asking. So, you will never know exactly before you start doing. Only when you start coding, setting up an integration, you can evaluate more accurately how much efforts do you need to complete each particular task. So discrepancies may have place, and it's okay, it's normal. So especially the discrepancy may occur when it comes up to the integration with other systems and third-party providers, because then we become dependent on all these parties. And in case of the changes on their end, we need to adapt to the way they interact and exchange the data. So we cannot kind of predict this stuff. Also, some legal rules and regulation may arise during development that were not the case during discovery. So to be honest, it would be unfair to say that those estimates that we receive after discovery 100% accurate. No, they still might be adjusted, but for sure they are way more realistic than the one that we have at the beginning. And it's just, impossible to predict all the changes that might occur, all the situations that we need to adapt to. So this is where the risks come in.
I think that all of us understand that no one can predict the future and what may arise during the work. So we, by the way, had a case a few years ago, it actually was, I think, 6 years ago, but still we was in the middle of the development of a real estate project for the Australian market. And the Australian government passed a law that made the whole business model of the platform which we was developed fully it's fully impossible. And it was, punch in the face. So when you're mostly at the middle of the development, and here you understand that now because of the law, nothing will work. Just platform, we can launch it, but it will be prohibited by the law. And we should, change everything on a row. So we was developing and we was adjusting everything up to this. So this is actually relevant to my next question about product development implementation plan. So does it also can change? Because I know that many companies are using kind of waterfall model, which means that according to this model, everything what you have defined during discovery, so here is our sprint, milestone, task in every sprint, so this couldn't change then during the development. So what is your opinion regarding this? Is it the right model for the discovery or not?
So in this digital and kind of fast-change environment, product must be tuned with the latest market trend, tech achievements, and must continuously meet the challenging user needs. So with this statement in mind, the classic waterfall approach doesn't fit well, because according to the waterfall, the detailed planning and scoping hub happens just one toward the planning, and it's not flexible. So it limits the possibility to build a better solution and be up to market. So we practice to execute the development process with a cycle and repeatable sprints that give us more flexibility, sustainability, and versatility. And it also kind of gives us the opportunity to observe and adapt any changes when they are needed or kind of worth having. So let's assume the situation that during development we have identified such a cool idea that can make the product better or even save the money. So the question is, why not to apply it? Just because we have some brilliant plan that just doesn't work now. So in reality, all this waterfall approach just don't work well. This does not fit.
Yeah, so therefore we should not consider the results of the discovery as something exclusively defined. Some requirements may be revised and some changes may happen during development and new features may appear, and that all are fully okay. World practice shows that agile and flexible process working better for the innovative digital product. So when you want to develop such innovative product. Also, very often people underestimate the role of the communication during discovery process. In your opinion, what role does the communication play in the discovery?
So effective communication is really important and crucial for the project success. And indeed, this is something that is underestimated right now, unfortunately. Project team should be aligned, and all this constant, effective communication helps to coordinate the process and do the right step. Poor and kind of limited communication may cause any issues, misunderstanding, reworks, as a result, really take the project vision and even development in wrong direction.
Advice to all of you who are planning to start working and rewriting proposal from different companies. Take into consideration how many time they allocate for the communication. If you're going to work with a company and they didn't have nothing mentioned about estimation for the communication time, so that should be a sign for you. Because in case they didn't estimate communication, it means they make it for free, which means automatically that they are not going to invest enough time in it. And communication is critically important because this guarantees that all the team are in line in what they are doing, and that at the final you will receive product which is up to your expectation. So think twice before working with someone who does not include communication in their estimation. And if they made it for free, so it automatically means that they are not going to invest much time on it. Let's be honest with each other. So you have a risk of getting something what you didn't expect. So communication is very important for the team to be aligned in what they're doing, and to you to be sure that the team are doing what in the needs of your business and the product. And I think that everybody understands that we can't outline some common numbers regarding timeline and cost for the estimation of the discovery phase, how much it may cost, but as it is very individual. But we can tell what influence on the budget and timeline of the discovery. Ira, how do you estimate the discovery for the new project?
Well, it's quite transparently. It depends, obviously, on the project scope, its complexity, are there any specific deadlines we need to meet, and I would say on the current readiness state, meaning how much information we already have. Are there any materials, spec, maybe such designs or sketches that can be shared with the team so they can use this one and not start really from scratch. And based all of this information, we define how many team members should be involved in this phase, their seniority level, and consequently it reflects on the schedule and the estimates of the hours. If there is a need, to meet specific deadline, then we can play around and, for example, dedicate more team members. Instead of one designer, we can dedicate two just to finish this phase earlier. And based on the previous experience, we can estimate how many hours might be needed by BA, tech architect, and designer to provide a deliverables for specific kind of project. Mm-hmm. And in most common, the discovery is taken from 1 to 3 months, depending on the project scope and the team size we dedicate to.
Every founder, business owner, or entrepreneur wants to develop their product as soon as possible. And when they have a tight timeline for the product development, they even don't want to hear about 1 or 3 months, additionally of discovery phase. That is really very, very painful for them. Usually in such cases, they tell me, we want to hire like 2 developers, give us these people, and we will start working with them directly, and from tomorrow they will start coding something. What do you think about such a case?
All right, let's assume you have a cool team of 10 developers, so really you have the hands to do the work. But it doesn't resolve the question what to do, in which order, like where to take the requirements from. So even if we skip the discovery phase, all these questions still need to be addressed and answered. And it means that they will be addressed during development that will consume the time and still won't be good. So for such kind of the project, it might feel like that the discovery phase is redundant, but in fact it's not. It helps to build the plan, prioritize the scope, and define the right steps what to do. If we skip the discovery and jump directly into development, it would be worse. Mm-hmm. And at the end, I'm confident we will be out of schedule, and out of budget. So it's much better to invest in proper discovery and maybe postpone a scope, but rather, just cut it off completely.
Mm-hmm. But can we offer something that can reduce the timeline in the event of critical deadlines?
Yeah, it's possible, and at the end, it's simple mathematics. If we want to do still the discovery and do it right with the proper quality, we either need to cut off some scope that will be covered during discovery, or the other scenario to dedicate more team members who will be working on this phase. But of course, the second one will result in increase of total cost of the discovery that client might not be happy with this one. But even just simply to cut the time frames, it means that the team will work in a rush and team won't have enough time for proper analysis, research, investigation. And it will mean that we're really making the hasty and not well thought decision for the project. Again, it's still better to invest in the discovery and postpone some scope than cut the deadlines and trying to make something in a rush.
Mm-hmm. And also a very interesting question is interesting to know your opinion in it. Does the discovery is useful as a standalone service? Or it is more rational to conduct discovery as a fully fledged development process? Because we considering discovery as a first stage of the development process. So does it really useful to make it as a standalone service?
Yeah, discovery can be run as standalone service for a specific reason. And the most common one is the proof of concept or feasibility check. This is when the client just wants to understand if it's possible to build specific project, product, how much it will cost you, how long it will take to build such product. So then the customer can use the discovery outcomes as the basis, for example, for negotiating investments. Mm-hmm. So there are the cases when standalone service discovery is okay and useful. Of course, it's much better to start the development right away after discovery. It's way more effective. But yeah, at LinkUp Studio, we kind of respect all that clients' requests. And if there is a need and it makes sense, we also provide the discovery as a separate service.
And as a summary of all our today conversation, Ira, does the discovery worth the cost and time spent on it?
It definitely does. It delivered the plan with the steps on what and how to do that serve as the foundation for the smooth development. So without plan, without requirements, tech direction, the designs, it would be just have some chaotic ideas that might even don't work together. So discovery is really a proven way, tested by our example, to cut risks, reduce costs, make the right steps and the product vision, and really achieve the business need and the result that the client is seeking to have at the end.
So in this video, we have shared our knowledge and approach to the agile discovery process, which was revised and perfected during 9 years of commercial development at the LinkUp Studio. And at the end, I would like to mention that discovery is rather a concept than a concrete process with exact deliverables. Every company conducts discovery based on their in-year process and adjust it up to their needs. And the result of the discovery in one company may really drastically diverse from a result of the discovery in another one. So if you plan to work with some development or design agency on the discovery phase, be very clear about what they include in their discovery, what process they propose, what the deliverables you will receive at the end. And the most important, why this is important for your project, why they propose exactly these deliverables for your project. Make sure that what they propose is really useful. And that's all for today. And thank you for being with us. Thank you, Ira, for great podcast. I think that we made a great job and really was very interesting to talk with you.
Thank you, my pleasure.